Has Bitcoin failed us as an inflation hedge? I mean, come on, man. Inflation's up to historic levels, and Bitcoin, well, somebody better get the Bitcoin manager on the phone. I would like to lodge a complaint, please. Well, with the last few years stretching everyone's budgets, it feels like sometimes Bitcoin can give us and then Bitcoin can take us away. As economists everywhere seem to currently be scrambling to try to hide the real rates of inflation. As we've covered here on the channel before, the inflation now, they just fudge the numbers, right? It's not as the same metrics we used to count inflation on. But can we really continue to count on Bitcoin as a safe haven from rampant government idiocracy? Well, as the money printers just keep going burr, the question must be asked, is Bitcoin still our savior? All of that and more in today's video. My name's Lark. I make videos on investing. If you do like that topic, like to stay up to date with what is happening in the crypto world, in the investing world, then please subscribe to the channel. And if you are the kind of person who just keeps on stacking sats, rain or shine, make sure to smash the thumbs up button to let us all know. Okay, so first, asking if Bitcoin has indeed failed as a hedge against inflation, to an extent it's a bit of a loaded question. If you ask the traditional finance guys, well, of course, you'll end up getting a definitive yes, it has failed as an inflation hedge. But that sentiment from the traditional banking class is really nothing new. It's always been in the best interest of traditional finance, Wall Street and all these guys to trash Bitcoin every single chance that they get, and most of them have been doing it for years and years and years until they, adopt Bitcoin. Fear is what they sell best, but how much truth is there to what's being said that Bitcoin has failed as an inflation hedge? Is there even any to be found? Well, naturally, the data presented by the mainstream media compares Bitcoin to dollars, but they do so in a way that tends to be in line with the agenda that they're trying to push at the moment. Comparing the price of Bitcoin to the inflation rate of the dollar is like, the definition of comparing apples to orange coins. Anyway, well, we are well aware that the price of Bitcoin has pulled back from last year's all-time highs in a pretty dramatic fashion, as Bitcoin does. And of course, the dollar's been seeing an unprecedented rally with the Dixie up massively, but also at the same time, unprecedented inflation rates. So if we're really going to measure Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, inflation should be measured by purchasing power. After all, this is the real value of an asset when it comes down to it. When we do that, it becomes pretty polarizing just how much Bitcoin has stomped the living hell out of the dollar. And we've had memes about this for a long time, such as this, but then you can look at this here with the dollar losing 97 freaking percent of its purchasing power against Bitcoin. That's a pretty big deal. That's not in the entire history of Bitcoin. That's just in the last 5 years, making it no surprise to anyone that the further we go back, the more power the dollar has lost versus Bitcoin, which seems like a pretty damn good hedge against inflation, if you ask me. Now, just for a quick break in the flow here, if all this crypto stuff still has you scratching your head, then we'd definitely love for you to check out our weekly free Wealth Mastery newsletters, a cryptocurrency investor report where you can learn more about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, talk about DeFi, altcoins, NFTs, all of that stuff. Our members absolutely love our value-packed newsletter, and I'm sure that you will too. Sign up for free using the link down below in the description. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. So, if they are telling us that Bitcoin has failed as a hedge against inflation, what's the alternative? What are they saying that you should be putting your money into to hedge against inflation? Well, it's largely the same thing that they've been telling us to do with our money for years, and that is to buy some gold, put some more gold on top of your gold, and then just sprinkle some gold on top to make sure you got enough gold. And I like gold. I have gold coins. They're cool. I like them. But why are they telling everybody to buy gold? Because they think it's a better hedge against inflation than Bitcoin. But is it really? Well, you tell me. Have a look at this. Does it look like gold has been a better store of value, a better hedge against inflation? No, it does not. Gold has done almost nothing. Bitcoin's gone to the moon. And to be fair, there have been some instances where we have seen mainstream financial punditry going against that narrative and saying, well, actually Bitcoin's pretty interesting. But if we're talking about inflation, of course, we also have to take into account what is being inflated. And that is those sweet but trashy and dirty and nasty dollar bills. Federal Reserve has been printing like an average of $60 million every minute. At least that's the height of the pandemic printing. 80% of every dollar in circulation has been printed in just the last 2 years. That is insanity, man. Definitely good business for the guys providing all the paper and ink, isn't it? Holy cow. Anyway, those guys over at the Fed have been reaping massive benefits from this by handing all of this money straight over to their Wall Street banker buddies. It's just a big club, right? Just like George Carlin said, it's a big club and you and I are not in the club. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is over here just chilling with its 21 million supply hard cap. Never a Satoshi more than 21 million. The dollar to infinity. Bitcoin, 21 million. Faced with this endless supply of dollars, you can really just appreciate the simplicity of 21 million Bitcoin. And let's be clear, the dollar printing has had some pretty damn serious consequences, with the dollar devaluing by truly shocking amounts just in my lifetime. In my short little life, the dollar has lost almost 2/3 of its value. Or in other words, to have the same purchasing power of a $100 bill back in 1985 would require almost $250 now, which is pretty damn crazy. But as the inflation of the dollar continues to rise, the deflation rate of Bitcoin has continued to, well, deflate. This causes less supply to be emitted, while at the same time we see demand rising every single year. More and more fiat on-ramps, more and more adoption happening. Despite the price fluctuations of Bitcoin, Bitcoin continues to provide a far better hedge against inflation than basically any other asset that you could invest your hard-earned dirty dollars into. After all, so much of Bitcoin is about preserving your monetary energy, your monetary sovereignty and freedom as well. But, your sweat, your blood, you leave it in dollars, it just gets stolen away. Death by 1,000 cuts. The world's changing and our money is changing with that world. It's going digital, it's going stateless, and it's going censorship resistant. Look, while me and you are far from being economists or, someone who's been living through these financial markets for decades upon decades, it just so happens that we do have a hardcore Bitcoin evangelist, someone we all know who has been doing exactly that for a very long time. That's Michael Saylor, famous Bitcoin bull, former CEO of MicroStrategy. He is someone who knows what the hell he is talking about when it comes to Bitcoin. And I think we can all appreciate his opinion. I mean, look, someone like Elon Musk, they come, they go. I like Elon, I like Tesla cars, but when it comes to Bitcoin, I'd rather listen to someone like Michael Saylor, who's gonna be a Bitcoiner for life. And it's not because he has, some kind of delusions of grandeur about Bitcoin or maybe a financial midlife crisis. It's because he understands what money is, he understands the system. And if he's out there saying, man, Bitcoin is the best hedge against inflation, maybe it's worth taking note of that opinion. Anyway, don't let the banker class fool you into thinking that Bitcoin is a bad inflation hedge just because of short-term volatility. You have to understand what the asset actually is. You have to understand the year-over-year picture. Invest long-term. Stack sats and chill. Accumulate, accumulate, accumulate. Anyway, those are my 2 Satoshis. What do you think? Is Bitcoin really a good inflation hedge, or has it failed as an inflation hedge? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.